Hello everybody, it's Peter. Peter with an I. Stewart. Thanks for watching today's presentation, and don't forget to look up my podcast. Doesn't cost anything. Search for Peter Stewart. And don't forget the I. And enjoy over 30 hours of listening pleasure. In the previous episode, Joe was apparently sleepwalking and fell down the stairs. Frank's breakfast was interrupted by the ringing of a phone, coming from Mr. Humphrey's locked upstairs apartment. Driven to the point of madness, prudent Nancy decided it was time to nip that problem in the bud. Chapter 2. The little islands of moss that cropped up over the years were damp and best not stepped on without shoes. Nancy could feel the grit of the tar shingle roofing through the footies of her pajamas. All Frank could feel were the vibrations of the ringing telephone penetrating through the roof. Joe munched on his cereal. The kids knew that Mr. Humphrey always kept his doors, windows, and outgoing vents locked up tight. They knew because they had tried all of the above with no success. They had always wanted to get in there when Mr. Humphrey wasn't home and play some sort of prank on him, like cut a hole in his floor and drape a rug over it, or pour water all over his hardwood floors and then leave the door to the freezer open for a long time to make the water turn to ice. They could listen to him slip and fall and yell, and they could laugh and giggle. As we know, the house is virtually impregnable, said Nancy, stern as an eagle. That means you can't get it pregnant, cracked Joe. In the course of his immature laughter, he accidentally let cereal drop out of his mouth. Frank was too frazzled for any humor. Nancy ignored the comment. The only way in, she continued, the golden orifice is through the chimney. The mission, she said, drumming up the muses of courage with a cadence, if you decide to take it, is to bungee jump down the chimney, enter Mr. Humphrey's house, and answer the phone. Do we have any volunteers? She asked. I nominate Frank, said Joe, still crunching. I second that notion, she said. Frank was too preoccupied with the ongoing ringing to object or complain. Good luck, son, said Nancy as she handed him the cord. You're Nancy's son, gasped Joe. Nancy and Frank ignored the imbecile. So how about it, Frank? She asked. Frank was too fixated on the howl of the phone to even hear what was being said. Give me that, he ordered. He strapped the harness around his ankles and gallantly waddled over to the chimney. Frank turned and, for a moment, he was J. Peterman. Nancy, Joe, don't wait for me. I might be gone for some time, he said. Joe gave a flagrant wave. Don't worry, we won't, he said with an oat stuck to his chin. Onward, Christian soldier, Nancy saluted him. Frank stood up on the brick ledge, took one last breath of fresh air, and jumped in. He was followed by a puff of black soot that spewed forth in the upcurrent. Nancy and Joe stood there with mouths agape. They couldn't believe he actually did it. Frank bungeed down the chimney.